Okay, I'd like to welcome everybody tonight. We can start out with the consent agenda, which includes the minutes from our previous meeting, our appropriations, the lake cabin transfers for K10, D13, D27, G2, B52, and B52. There's two B52s. Just
No, there's one, but it's a double transfer.
Oh, double
So,
transfer, okay. That's why I thought
the
I
gentleman's father passed away, has transferred his name, he has it sold. And then the biggest thing is when we take it up to the deeds office, his son has to be filed first and stamped first, and then it can be stamped for the new owner.
So it is actually a double transfer.
It's a double transfer,
Okay,
yep.
very good. License to sell cereal malt beverages for the shortstop and for Dollar General. Do I hear a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I'll make it motion.
Okay, and I'm second. Okay. Been moved and seconded to approve the consent agenda. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries 6-0. Okay, old business, we don't have any, so we can move on to new business. Say, the state trail signage, Scott Allen.
Right on the top here.
Mhm.
I'm Scott Allen here in Council Grove, or actually I live north of town. But the state, I'd had a conversation with Mayor Schwartzfeger a few months ago, wanting signage for the trail. Not directional, not on the trail, but directional signage to guide people to the trail. I was at a trail advisory committee meeting a couple weeks ago, and I brought this up, and they said the state has signage available. They will provide it if we'll put it up. That was basically it. Like they're 24 by 18 inch signs. They're not great big signs, and it just says Flint Hills Trail State Park on it. And then down below that, you could put a directional arrow that would show which direction the trail is.
Is it a sign with the post and all that? Or
No, not
the
just
sign?
the sign.
You have to buy the post.
Yeah. Yeah. Also, just kind of an update on the trail overall. The state's applied for a $25 million grant, federal government grant. It's called a RAISE grant, Rebuilding American Infrastructure with Sustainability and Equity. Most of that will be used to complete the trail between Council Grove and Harrington. And then they can do a little bit more than that. $25 million was the max they could ask for. And I think they've got $1 billion or $2 billion or something like that nationally. And the most any one state can get is $100 million. So, you know, it's the first time they've ever applied for a grant like this. And this is a new grant. It used to be something called Tiger Grants. I don't know if you're familiar with those, but that's what they're calling it now, is the RAISE grant. Like I said, it's the first time they've applied for it. Big process to go through it, I guess. But you know, they're confident. They're confident they put in a good application. Whether they'll get it or not, nobody knows. And it's an 80-20 grant, like everything else. It's reimbursable, the way the other KDOT grants are. But there's also another thing I'd like to talk about. I talked about this with you, Mayor, the other day. Sunflower. Can I take my mask off, or?
Just be
Okay, thank you. Sunflower Trail or Sunflower Foundation has a class coming up. It's a seminar, or it's a class that they're looking. It's for communities that kind of already have trails, and it's to assist them in taking what they have to the next level. It's you know, it talks about let's see, I've got some information on here. It says it's a unique opportunity for Kansas trail champions to benefit from high-level expertise, hands-on coaching, and valuable technical assistance, and of course customized for the needs of our state. You'll learn how to do things like surveys, economic impact studies, you know, economic community development, and they're looking for people to do this from different groups, not just necessarily trail advocates, but like 2 to 4 people, and they would like somebody from like economic community development, chamber of commerce, somebody who's active with trails, units of local government, things like that, and they want to get as diverse as possible, and it would be free if we were selected to do it. But the application is due next week. It's due the 9th. It's not that difficult. It's the kind of thing. It's not it's not something that I could fill out myself, but if there was a couple of people that were interested in doing this, it could probably be filled out in a couple hours. It's just basic questions. Just go through. It's like one of the questions: describe the ecosystem around your local trails using the strength, weaknesses, opportunities, and threat framework. Specify and address strengths, weaknesses, and opportunities, and questions like that.
Kind of like just spot what they call it, SWOT assessment.
Yeah, SWOT analysis, and that's exactly what they said. I just
Yeah, no,
took it out.
And it's for trails specifically then? And-
Yeah, it's for trail. Yeah, it would basically teach us how to take what we've got and market it and utilize it better and present it to the community and stakeholders and things like that. And plus, I think it would help in the future if we were wanting to apply back to Sunflower for another grant. They could say, well, they've participated in this and whatnot.
How many people will,
Selected.
it's a.
Yeah, how many groups are selected? I don't know.
You don't know how many
I don't know
people
for
will be there or
sure.
anything?
But, well, let's see, it talks about, they want to keep it limited. And a lot of it's done online. And there'll be 8 to 10 sessions between January and March. But it says cohort size will be limited to ensure the best learning environment and personal attention. Community teams will be selected based on the quality of the application, past history, and future plans regarding trails.
Okay.
Is there a fee?
No, they would pay for the whole thing if we were selected.
And that doesn't sound to me like it has to necessarily be governmental people, it could be.
No, but it would be nice to have as wide a breadth as possible. Yeah.
So. Okay, well, let's start, is that, I don't want to cut you off.
No, I think, yeah, that's pretty much it. That's all that I have. Oh, well, there is one other thing that kind of came up, and it's come up a few times with the trail, and this isn't necessarily anything the city would be involved in, but if there's somebody in town that would be interested in creating kind of a side business as a shuttle, to shuttle people, because a lot of times somebody starts in Osawatomie and they ride the trail to Council Grove. Well, they don't have any way to really get back. If there was somebody in town that could, for a fee, of course, provide a service to take them back to their vehicle or pick them up and bring them here and they ride back. There is a company in Ottawa that's the bike shop in Ottawa is doing that, but it would be nice if there was someone here local, if somebody was interested in, making a few extra bucks.
That's interesting.
Scott, was there any mention when you talked about this grant of completing the trail from Council Grove to Harrington about completing it within Council Grove?
Well, he did. Yeah, he talked about doing the bridge here in town.
So
Yeah.
I would say they would do everything else.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's my understanding.
Let's start out with the simple part, the signs. Does anybody have any objection to us hanging the signs that are available?
And do we have locations where the signs need to go, the state wants those signs? or
No, we can kind of
specification?
decide
Okay.
where we want them. I was thinking we would want like at least 3. One on 56, and I think what street is that? Donnan Street? Right there by the old jail where you turn. And then kind of on that corner there, because people don't know to turn the corner around, put another one there. And then one right there by where the trailhead is, showing that it's just off to
That's
the
5th
left.
Street that goes,
That goes around the corner? Okay,
Yeah,
5th
that's
Street.
5th Street.
Okay.
Do you think a couple council members should maybe take a look at that? Maybe a couple
I
council
would prefer
members?
it to have the,
Yeah.
and might even include law enforcement, police officers so that they
No,
don't forget impedes anything. So,
so,
one or two. So, but,
how many signs is it? Do you know that?
Well, we could ask for. I mean, they bought quite a bit, so they
I
have.
think that's the thing, we need to
extra
figure out
signs.
where we want them at and how many we want to put in. So that way we can make a request, because I imagine you have to request them, so.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
don't know how many we want, it's kind of hard to make a request, so.
well, and we need to think about if people are coming from Wichita or the other places.
Yeah, so probably a group of us need to take a look at that and kind of figure out
Make some
where we
decisions.
want them and.
Would the signs have some information? For instance, if there was a sign that coming in from the south that said trailhead at 5th and Main Street or something?
No, these just say Flint Hills. Actually, it's just a sign that says Flint Hills Trail State Park.
Okay.
That's pretty much all. And then you'd put the arrow below it.
Okay.
Although they would have no objection if we put 6 blocks east if we had that. but-
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they wouldn't, but that you might get into issues with KDOT when you start doing that. I don't know. That's
I don't know.
Those are state signs.
It, yeah, it's above my pay grade. So.
What's that?
I'll help with it if you want.
Does anybody else want help with it?
I can help with it.
Okay.
Yeah, because they've called me about it a couple of times, so. Okay, so that takes care of that.
Okay.
Then let's go on down to the Sunflower Foundation class. Would anybody here be interested in taking that class?
Jason just volunteered.
Jason?
Yep.
And I can think of several other individuals in the city that probably would be interested, so that's something, if you can get us the link to the paperwork or whatever. we
Sure.
can Check it out.
Sure. Okay.
Okay.
And you want somebody from economic development, the chamber?
Well, they just it basically says just kind of as broad a swath as possible. Economic community development, chambers of commerce, tourism, visitor entities, units of local government, nonprofits with missions aligned to active, healthy living, quality of life, and/or equitable opportunities to access trails and green spaces.
Chamber guy? Chamber be interested?
I think so.
You're not here for that, but.
Sure, there's somebody that would be, I don't know, that bad.
Yeah, Zoe might be interested in taking on.
Zoe might be really
or,
good.
I'm sorry?
Zoe, the new person at the chamber, might be really good.
or Susan, if you want.
We just have to be careful on how much time it costs, because if we do an employee, we have to pay him to go versus a board member who volunteers.
Sure.
That's right.
Yeah, and if a lot of it's online, that'll be helpful too, like you said, so. But yeah, if you get this, can you send that, is it okay if you
You
send the
send it to
link
me,
to you?
yeah, I
Okay.
can give it, send it to Jason.
Okay. Okay.
So we can fill out the paperwork at least, and then we can go
Yeah.
from there.
And I would be willing to do it and help fill it out if you want or not. It's no big deal either way.
Are you
When you plan
interested?
on being on the
If
group too?
if you want, that's fine. I mean,
Yeah, I think you've got
Okay.
enough
Okay.
expertise in the trail that,
okay.
I was thinking of people like Lowry's or Gaston's, or, there's quite a few people that are interested in the trails.
what about like Ken England? Ken and Deb, I think they spent a lot of time on that.
Yeah.
So we can,
Okay.
yeah, you'll get it to,
Okay.
Just send it
get
to
us
me.
the links.
Okay, but yeah, like I said, it's due
And Nick,
next week.
I'll help fill that out.
Okay.
Yeah, I've done lots of SWOT assessments, so I kind of understand.
Okay.
Okay, very good. Thank you, Scott.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Scott.
Thanks.
Okay, next up we have Aaron for Rotary. Aaron Duddy.
One of the service projects that Rotary was looking at was a pitch and putt disc golf course. And we were looking at the potential lakeside park, since there's such a vast open area there. A pitch and putt course is not your traditional long-range disc golf. It's more of a practice. So when we have the tournaments in town, there's a place where people can go to practice their pitching and putting. And then our local community also can go down and have an area to play where it's not so spread out, it's more confined. We have reached out to see if it's even feasible before we came to the city to see what the pulse of it was to Dynamic Disc and Emporia, and they have volunteered to design the park and donate the signage and baskets for it, so it'd just be a Rotary project of installing them. So they were supposed to send someone out to design it and get me some information. I was hoping to have that to bring to you tonight, but I do not have it yet. So it's not a for sure thing yet, but I wanted to come anyhow and just see what the pulse of the council was. To have something like that in that park on Lakeside. Is it Lakeside Drive?
It's Becker Park. but
Becker
it's
Park,
Yeah, it's
yeah.
Lakeside Drive. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's a great idea.
Yeah,
This
would there
park
be a
hasn't been
parking?
utilized for a lot, so that'd be a good thing for it.
Yeah, it needs to have something. Would there be any parking issues?
People would just have to kind of pull over onto the grass, I guess. along
There
the
is a
edges.
parking lot up there. It's parking spaces, isn't there, on the north side of it?
There's plenty of room there if we need to make parking, we could do that pretty easy.
I think they could pull off onto the grass probably.
Yeah.
Figure out something like that.
Yeah. But we wanted just to come and, before we got any more serious about it with Rotary, make sure that was all right with the council and see what the pulse was on that.
How much would it involve, like city crews to help install any of that or anything, or
No, I would imagine, I think Rotary be able, with the volunteers that we have through Rotary, be able to do it without needing assistance from the city, but don't hold me to that, because they may say, yeah, if you had an auger or something, that might be good to do, but I think we have enough Rotary members that have access to equipment like that we can probably do it ourselves, but never hurts to have more resources in your tool belt, so,
No, that's fine.
yeah.
Do I hear a motion to, okay, I've got one and two seconds. All those in favor?
I'll abstain since I'm a
Who was the
retiring.
second there?
It was one of these two or second?
I got Burton first, so.
Okay.
Burton second.
And I'll bring, once we get final designs and all that, I'll bring all that to you, so you guys will be able to see it as a council as well.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Okay, sure. And then
Am I next to
you're
you?
next,
All
yeah.
right. So the next topic, I wanted this to come and start a conversation. This is a very big, broad idea and has zero traction yet as far as a reality. It's more just a big picture idea of several issues maybe we can accomplish at once if it becomes something that might be a fruition or a reality. So no decisions are being asked to be made tonight, just a conversation about the feasibility and an idea of maybe moving forward to gather more information. So with that being said, as a context, I was driving down the street the other day, and we have a big problem in the school district of we've lost multiple employees because there's no place for them to live here. We'll hire someone, they want to come, they can't find a house, so they take a job in Manhattan or Emporia or somewhere else where they can find housing, and then they end up having a job available there, so they leave us and go to that because of proximity. So when I was driving down the street the other day, I drive by the Stella multiple times, and I've been to a lot of communities where, the younger generation, they want to live in a more happening area, downtown area, or in those loft-style apartments you see popping up in a lot of communities. So we've looked as a school district at other areas about the possibility of potentially building, a fourplex or a sixplex or something like that we can incentivize teacher salaries and recruiting to sign longevity contracts and so forth. But the problem is that location sometimes. They don't want to live, and doing some studies with staff members and teachers and colleges, the kids don't want to live out in the middle of nowhere. They're coming out of college. They don't want to live right next to their place of employment because they want to get away. And so it kind of dawned on me driving by, well, we have multiple issues with that location. It's a safety issue, a big time safety issue. It's an eyesore. And we have a housing issue. So I thought, what about the possibility if we can come together and work together from a city standpoint, a county standpoint, a school district standpoint, looking at building some sort of apartment structure there that would allow for additional housing that we could use as a school district. We would own as a school district and build to recruit staff and retain staff. Now, with that being said, there's a lot of ifs and logistics there, right? Number one, we have no idea what the cost of that would be. I've spoken to some financial backers on that to see about financing of that. There's some interest there. I spoke to our board, and there's some interest there. But there's some, it's going to require a partnership with the county and the city to acquire that property, to help clean it up and get it ready to build something there. So just a lot of what ifs, and I need to bring in, if it's something that is desirable to continue to explore from the city council's point of view, then the next step that I would like to do is bring in some engineers and architects to look at it, to give us some projections to see, what would it take to tear it down safely, or gut it. May not need to tear the whole structure down, but at least get it where you can come in and rebuild something. A lot of what ifs there, and then what potential cost would be to build something there, and get some projections on that. And then if those all line up and make sense for us to do financially and logistically, then come back and talk about how could we further then partner together, whether that's the city helping to clean it up, the county forgoing taxes, whatever that looks like. I know I talked to Bill Castlebaum some and Bill Halverson here some, and they have talked together about there are some mechanisms in place that would allow us to do some things with that, to transfer ownership and so forth. But we don't need to get into that until we know if it's even something we want to explore. So I didn't know, I kind of just wanted to throw this idea out there. Like I said, it's just a really big kind of pie in the sky idea right now to see what the pulse is, but you got to start somewhere. And if you all feel that it's something worth further discussion and exploring, then I'd like to reach out and get some more data and bring in some more people to look at it to see if it's even feasible, and bring them back to my board some numbers about what it would take, talk to some financial institutions about how making it would be possible, and then moving forward with, okay, hey, we have a plan that's feasible now, can we move forward and see if we can make it happen? Just kind of want to get the thoughts of the council on that.
think it sounds great.
Oh, yeah, it'd be nice. Nice to have
I
that.
do have a question. I know there's a lot of ifs here, but
Right.
would you try to save the facade in this scheme of,
You know, I think there'd be a lot of desire to do that. I just, without an engineer coming in, I don't know if they would,
yeah.
you know, an engineer may say, no, you gotta gut the whole thing front to back, you can only save the sidewalls. Or they may say, no, it's structurally you could. I mean, I think that's a discussion worth having once
Sure.
we kind of get a pulse of what the structure's even what part of that structure is even salvageable or not. Yeah.
If the school system owned it, like you're saying, what would be the, I don't know how, I guess protocol maybe is a good word, for, let's say there's a six unit place there.
Mhm.
And let's just say 4 of them are rented to educational instructor, teachers, and 2 of them are sitting vacant. Would there be an opening then for regular tenants that are not?
So obviously there'd have to be some discussion on policies and procedures designed around what that would look like, because you wouldn't want something sitting empty, but you also want to make sure it's used for the intent that was proposed for.
Exactly.
So there is a statute, so part of this comes down to, for us to do something, we're not landlords as a school district.
Right.
But there is a statute called a teacherage statute that allows, it's pretty popular in western Kansas, it allows school districts to purchase property to incentivize administrators and teachers and school employees for housing, because a lot of times if you're a new teacher or administrator, you don't want to move clear out to western Kansas, spend $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 in a home and realize, hey, this isn't going to work out and leave and be stuck with it. So they do this a lot in other places. To make that work for us as a school district, to be able to incentivize staff members, and when I say that, I mean, I can go to, let's say we're going to a career fair tomorrow at Emporia State, and if I have a teacher there that seems promising, interviews well, and say, hey, if you'll sign a 5-year contract with us, we'll subsidize your rent, maybe $300 or $500 a month if you sign a 5-year contract, right? If you break that contract, you pay it all back, type of deal. So our hope then is be that those people then establish roots here, and then our problem right now, unfortunately, I wish we could sign a contract that says they can't get married, but they meet people, there's not a job for their spouse here, so they leave, because they can get a job anywhere. I mean, we're in a national crisis for teacher shortage right now. They can get a job anywhere, so they end up leaving us. They love it here, and they want to stay here, but they leave us because of their spouse. So our hope is that if we can get them to stay here long enough, they establish roots, and then they can put up a better fight saying, well, no, you move here. You drive to Manhattan, or you drive to Emporia, find something here because we're not leaving. And I think we can do that. And also I think it will help, even if we can only get someone for 5 years and they're good, that's better than having them not at all, right? And we have a better chance of keeping them. The other piece of it is, in talking with the county some unofficially, there's the issue of property tax. So unless it's used as a school building, we're not necessarily tax exempt, but this county can exempt us from taxes, and that would have to be necessary, because to subsidize teacher salaries, we can't have the overhead. But if you flip on that and say, well, we lose out on these property taxes, but you got to think about what else does it bring. If right now we have a large percentage of our staff that live out of town. They get their paycheck, they go spend that out of town. They register their vehicles out of town, they go buy their groceries out of town, they go spend their dollars out of town, so nothing's reinvested back into our community. So even if that property is property tax exempt, but it's got 8 educators in it now that would be living somewhere else, those 8 educators are investing their salary back here in Council Grove. They're going to Ray's and our local restaurants and our local eateries and our grocery stores, spending their dollars, staying here. They're going to the courthouse, registering their vehicle now. So there is gain through sales tax and property tax that would be better than and more beneficial than what we lose out on the property tax. So there's got to be a, kind of a big picture look at that, and not just get caught up in the moment of, oh, we lose property tax on structure, because we're going to gain far more by doing that. So that's where that partnership, we're going to really have to have everybody on board with doing something, because we wouldn't be able to afford to subsidize teacher salaries, play landlord, maintenance of building, and pay taxes on it. So
Plus there are no taxes being collected on it right now.
it's exactly, yeah,
Well, that was just my
yeah.
question, because, we try to, when we do things, I think we all try to do things that will affect the majority of the citizens in town, and that would, because of education
Absolutely.
and taxes. So.
And back to your original question too, if it is sitting empty, it wouldn't make sense to not have it open for rental for something else. It just may be on a different set scale, and then what we would subsidize a school district employee with on that.
Sure.
Yeah,
Understandable, okay.
yeah. But those are a lot of things that would have to get worked out, obviously, but that's down the road.
And we're just on baby steps.
Yeah,
right now.
exactly, yeah,
I think it's a great idea.
I do too. It'd be nice not to have that hole there. Yeah.
yeah.
I can't imagine we'd step in your way on this. I think this is great.
I think you'd have all the support.
Awesome. Well, I don't want to I know there's a lot of emotional attachment to Stella, and rightfully so. It's been a pretty big icon in this community for a lot of years. So I know it's going to be probably kind of a hot button topic as to, can you save the facade? Can you incorporate? So I think it's going to be very important, if this project does come to fruition, to incorporate, to have the right architect in place who incorporates a look that fits, maybe incorporates the Stella somehow into it, even if you can't save the facade, save the name, save some artifacts from it, something that incorporates it, and then also fits the motif of our downtown, and not something that's sticks out like an eyesore because it's too modern or it's too one way or the other. So having there's a lot of those things too that are important, having the right architects and people involved to make sure it fits in. So.
Well, sounds like you have basically our blessings.
Good. Okay. Well, I'll keep exploring it then. Thank you, and then I'll get back with you when we hopefully have some more details we can share.
I don't know about the rest of the council, but I'm excited.
It's a great idea.
Yeah. Well, I hope it's something that I think it'd be a win-win if we can make it happen. So. All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Aaron.
Good idea, thank you. Okay, next softball club, Jim.
Good evening, everybody. First, I apologize for my attire. I came from basketball practice. Basically, just wanted to give the council an update on our year. We completed our softball season on the 10th of October. Someday somebody's going to figure out a way how to beat Licky property rentals, but nobody figured it out this year, but it's okay. Just a couple of items to start with. First, really want to thank Justin Carlson and his crew for the shape that our parks are in. They do an enormous amount of work with little thanks, and having worked there previously, I understand that, and I just want you to know that he does a great job, and the people that work for him do a great job. So that's where I want to start at. This year we did 2 fundraisers and raised a total of $21,602 just in our fundraisers alone. We started the year with 9 teams, as I'm sure you're all very painfully aware, as we are, losing Max and Jordan. 2 of our teams decided to combine. One of our fundraisers was for Max and Jordan, and we raised a little over $19,000 in that fundraiser alone. We split that right down the middle. Half went to the Max Byram Memorial. The other half, actually, Karen Brooks, we actually just dropped a check off to the Council Grove Area Foundation for a scholarship in Jordan's name that will go to a nurse, a doctor, or a physician's assistant who is studying or in the program now. We dropped a check off for $8,000. And then the club's plan is to keep having a spring tournament where half will go into the foundation and the other half will go towards the scholarship until we reach the $12,000 mark, where then it will be able to subsist on its own. So we want to make sure that we keep doing that. Our second fundraiser, which everybody thought we're going to have another fundraiser, was our last tournament of the year, and that went to Julie Salas, and that was $2,500 we raised in a day. So this year to the City Rec, we bought 6 sets of catcher's equipment. Our agreement between you and the City Rec for us to use the fields is $1,000 a year. This year we went past that a little bit. We bought $1,172 worth of catcher's gear. That's 6 sets of catcher's gear. And then we maintained our sponsorships on the windscreens down there for $500. And again, I think that's very important. We paid our umpires, all young kids, $890 this summer. And then to the local businesses, we paid $977.33. So we keep pretty detailed accounts. So altogether this year, we brought in $24,142, and we have a whopping $119 left in our checkbook. And that's the way we like it, because that means we've given back to the city and to the people in the city. So in 6 years total, we have donated back to the city $58,315. I can't and I won't leave here without reminding everybody, this is our 6th consecutive year with 0 alcohol-related incidences. 0. It is something that our committee takes extremely seriously. I've said it before, I've driven people home, other people drive people home. I've driven people back to get their cars in the morning so they can go to work. It's what we do to maintain safety so that we can keep playing softball. So that's our update, and then with that, what I would like to do now, so I don't have to come back to you, because we would like to do that tournament in the spring. I don't want to come back to you, is I would request your approval to allow us to continue into our 7th year next year with everything that we have in place.
Do I hear any comments or a motion?
I'd like to make a comment on behalf of the family. I'd like to thank you greatly for what you've done for Jordan. My brother Mike would be very happy.
Jordan was a special kid.
Yeah.
I coached Jordan, and she was a special kid.
Okay,
I'd make a motion that we continue on.
okay. Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
We moved and seconded to continue with the softball club for the 7th year. All those in favor? Opposed? Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much, we appreciate it.
Keep doing what you're doing.
We
Thanks.
appreciate all you're doing.
Thank you.
And great record keeping. I know that's a job.
It is a job.
Okay, Rural Water District number 1 request.
Steve Euler contacted me a couple weeks ago, requesting permission from the city to install a water meter for Logan Lidkey. I talked to Derek about it. Derek checked it out. We don't have a water line in that area, and where the location is, Rural Water already has one there. So Derek would say it would be best for them to probably go ahead and install the water meter themselves. And I don't think there's any plans to run one out to Dunlap Road at any time soon, so. But from my understanding, I don't know how it worked in the past, but there has to be a request made to the city to allow another water meter to be installed.
Is he within the city limits?
No, he's at Dunlap Road.
Oh, okay.
But you're saying that he has to, you're saying that they have to request before they can go.
Right, because we supply the water for Rural Water, so that'd be another person on the water, using water, so they have to go through us in order to install more water meters on their lines.
So it's basically a formality that they're,
Well, yeah, I mean, and I think there was an issue in the past, from my understanding, where a water line was installed and permission wasn't asked, and it was in an area where the city could have ran a water line.
All right, that's what the case was.
Okay.
That it was within our boundary
Yep.
that we.
Yeah, it's like a 3-mile
It was
boundary.
up on Old 4.
Yeah. See, I tried to find information on that, and I couldn't.
I recall, it was,
Yeah. The only thing I found, the reason I got that information is from Derek. Derek recalled it, but
yeah.
that was my understanding, is that they ended up having to request because they did something in the past without asking permission to do it.
Is this property within our boundaries?
I don't know. Derek said that, I don't know where 700 Dunlop Road is, Mark. So I don't know if that's within 3
Yeah,
miles.
I'm not sure I know either.
But I know Rural Water, he said Rural Water already has a water line out there that's been approved before, or been installed. Obviously, we probably wouldn't run another water line out there to compete with Rural Water. 'Cause that water line is just adjacent from this property, so.
so do I hear a motion to allow the Rural Water District's request?
So moved.
Okay. Second?
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the Rural Water District number 1's request to install a line water meter for Logan Lakey. All those in favor, 700, don't know. Close, say five, sorry, talking out one. Okay, and I did not ask again for executive session. I didn't realize we were. Do you want to ask about that one?
I move that we go into executive session for client,
Okay, Bill, 15 minutes.
Attorney.
client attorney privilege. That would include the standing counsel, mayor, our attorney, and our city administrator.
For
15.
15 minutes, please.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to go into executive session for client attorney privilege with the council, mayor, attorney, and city administrator for 15 minutes. All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries 6-0. Moving forward, let's go to governing body comments. Jason?
I would like to give a shout out to the chamber for the excellent job they did with the Halloween parade. That was really well done. To the city for helping close Main Street down for a little bit there so that kids and the parents could wander all over the place without worrying about them. No, it was a lot of fun.
Good.
A lot of fun.
There was a lot of extra planning went into that because of, you know, the COVID and, you know, separating people and stuff, so that's nice of you to say so. Anything else?
Nope, that's it.
Okay, Mark Berner?
The only thing I had was, I believe Candlelight Charm is this weekend, is that right? Are we ready for that? Does the city need to do anything on Main
I
Street?
haven't heard anything. So I was gonna reach out to the chamber. I think probably cleaning up the leaves downtown will probably be something we could help with, which we do when this time of year anyways.
Mhm.
But go down with a couple blowers and blow stuff into the street and use the
Sweeper.
sweeper to pick it up.
Should be a nice weekend for it.
Yeah.
It's gonna warm up, it's gonna be nice.
Mhm.
That's all I have.
Okay. Keith?
The only thing I had spoke with Nick about, and we're working through some of these, dealing with some of these properties that are commercially zoned that we're having issues with, and the discussion is we'll look at it as a council maybe after the first year, try to see if there's something we need to change. And
Rezone it or something so we can clean something
I
up.
would think that'd be great.
yeah, so I had another individual call me and had quite a visit, so.
And James has since went and talked to that gentleman and he's supposed to straighten some of that stuff up.
Okay, good.
So he said he would clean it up instead of just dropping it all over the property and,
Yeah, it was pretty haphazard.
yeah.
Okay,
So,
appreciate it.
Okay, Mark?
A couple things. One, Nick, the company that was gonna work on the sewer lines over on East Main, have they given us any idea when they?
Johnson?
Yeah,
So Derek, those companies keep changing hands, according to Derek. And what happens when they change hands, they change the services they provide. So Johnson Company, I actually got a mailer from them the other day. Derek's supposed to be checking again to see if they offer that because they did offer it, then they didn't offer it, and he doesn't know if they're offering it again or not.
okay.
Maybe
Maybe once you get that information, maybe the Councilman Berner and myself can get together on that.
Yeah, because the chip and seal is not going to happen until '23. It'll be bid this coming spring. And
So
it'll
we
be-
have roughly a year to get it done.
Yeah, we have a year to get it all figured out.
Okay.
Wasn't that a spring project anyway, going into next year?
What's that?
That east,
Yeah, good. Well, we originally were going to have them come look at it, and then they dropped doing that kind of
Right.
work. And Derek couldn't find anybody else that does that.
Is that the relining?
That it's the lining. Actually, it's the lining of the lines that connect to the sewer from houses over there on East Main. Get heavy traffic
Plumbing
that
out of
crushes the
Manhattan.
sewer lines going out there.
it's the weight of the heavy trucks.
Do what?
It's the weight of the heavy trucks.
Yeah.
So,
And,
but I'll follow up with Derek on that again.
Come out to the street. So they have trouble getting there. So
So we wanted to try to get that work done before the chip and seal in case we have to dig anything up over there to do anything. So try to get in place. The second question is, has the Blighted Structures Committee met anytime soon? Because I know there's some homes and buildings in this community need to be looked at.
We have not.
We have not.
I have one right in my neighborhood.
am I on that committee or am I not anymore?
I have to go look.
I think I'm not anymore.
Yeah, I'm pretty, it's either you or Keith, I think, is on it.
No, Keith's not on it. Oh my God.
Are you on Larry? Larry's on
I think
it.
Larry took my place.
The house you're talking about, we're aware of, and James is already working on that.
Yeah, I mean, we got animals going in and out of the broken
Yeah.
windows, and, I mean,
Yeah.
that's just one structure, but I'm just curious, you know, because we used to meet, when I was on it, we used to meet quarterly usually and pick 4 structures. Larry was involved in it when he was the inspector. And once those 4 were cleaned up and taken care of, then 4 more were picked to try to take care of. And so I would encourage Try
We
to
just
get
kind
that
of
committee.
backed off a little bit because of the COVID thing.
Yeah.
Right.
Well,
So it's time to
then,
get
yeah,
back.
and last spring, obviously, we were building an amphitheater, so we didn't have anybody that could go clean up properties. But yeah, we can get back on it.
Yeah, I would encourage that, and that's all I have.
Okay. Larry?
I have nothing this evening.
Karen?
Nothing except just thank you for mentioning the Halloween parade. I was really impressed with it. I think they did a good job with that and looking forward to another big weekend, so
Okay.
good.
No, ma'am, thank you though.
Nick?
Couple things. I want to get rid of some of these vehicles that we got. We have a police car we need to put up for seal bid. We have the old brine truck. We took the brine bed and put it in our lift truck because the old brine truck frame is just all rusted. I'd like to do sealed bids on those, and then we have the Blazer and then the Ranger fish boat. I think those two items can bring pretty good money, and I think we just need to list those for sale and not do bids on them. Because the boats like that are going anywhere between $500 to $7,500, $7,500, and the Blazer will bring anywhere between $3,000 and probably $4,000. And usually when you get a sealed bid, it's a pretty low ball offer.
Purple Wave wouldn't be an option on
We
these?
pay 20 or 25% commission on
Wow.
that. And I think we can do it ourselves locally with Marketplace and then in the paper, and with those two items, get pretty good money out of those.
Plus they charge the buyer too.
Yeah, and plus they charge the buyer, because we bought stuff off there and they charge a pretty good fee to even buy stuff on there. But the police car, you know, it's got a lot of miles on it. I don't think you're gonna get a bunch of money for that. And then the old brine truck, some farmer may want it for something. It's not worth a whole lot of money either. So, but the other two items are, in my opinion, worth some money. And then we have a ozone compressor. Do you remember this, Mark? It was bought 8 to 10 years ago. That's sitting in that building up there. It was the wrong one. And that thing's worth.
Slipped my mind, I don't.
That thing's worth. Oh my God! I bet it's worth $10,000.
What's it for?
It's for our ozone plant when we put it in
For the water plant.
for the water plant, and it was the wrong one was ordered, and there's just. I went in there the other day and I was asking about it, and I said, "What is that?" And they told me, and I was like, well, "Why is it here?" And they said it's been there for 8 to 10 years, and I said, "Well," so I said, "What's the deal?" And they said, "Well, when they built the plant, the wrong one was ordered, and we just have it."
Well, that happened before they redid that plant before I came on board.
Okay, well, it's
so
sitting
that's
out
been
there.
a long time.
Well, it's brand new, still in the box it came in.
Wow.
Does Derek have a
So
way
well,
of knowing who we just advertise it? Or?
Yeah.
that I don't know. That's
Because
the
it seems
thing.
like a pretty specialized.
It is.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of ozone water.
Could that be put on the league municipalities on that little advertisement and thing
Yeah.
that they have?
Yeah, and I can talk to Derek and see if he has, rural water or somebody, he can put it on there.
Find out what it's worth now.
Yeah.
That's the big thing, figuring out what it's worth now. But
I'd say get it done.
yeah, and I'd like to work on getting rid of that as well. It's just sitting out there taking up space and we can't use it.
Yeah.
It'd certainly be better for somebody to be able to use it.
Well,
Sitting there.
just having an item that's worth $10,000 or $15,000 sitting around that you can't use is kind
Yeah,
of silly.
sell it.
Yeah.
You haven't been in my garage, have you?
I've seen all your cars.
Has all the stuff that was up at the armory been cleaned up, all the vehicles and things?
Yeah, have you been over there? Yeah,
That's
so I approved Sean to have a couple interns that were going to school for criminal justice from K-State, and he had them go through and fill out all the paperwork to sell those cars. And Junkyard came in and bought basically all of them, and that money went back into the police's budget.
Great.
So I think there's actually only a trailer, a truck, and then one car over there right now.
Good job.
Everything else is gone.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that needed to be cleaned up.
And then he just brought me to another thing. We have that Army generator we bought. That was before me, sitting out there that it was bought to run the armory if the power ever went out, but the way it's wired, it doesn't work for that. I think it was bought at surplus, if I remember correctly, from what I was told, but it just sits out there and it's fairly new and we're not doing anything with it. It just needs to,
Can't be rewired so it can be
it can't, I think you guys, according to Justin, you guys looked at that.
They did, they had Jones Electric, Mark with Jones Electric went through it. and
Okay.
Yeah, so
No, it's-
we that's something we can probably put on Purple Wave or something like that and get rid of. I just trying to clean up this stuff that's sitting around that we don't use. It doesn't make sense to.
No, it sounds
Especially if it's got value.
Well, yeah, well, it's not. If we leave them set, it's not going to have value. That's the thing.
Well, and again, if somebody can use them, that's all even better, because
It helps us with our equipment reserve money and put some more money back into that. So.
yeah, you want to make one?
Sure, I'll make a motion to market the things that Nick mentioned that need sold and get them sold.
I'll second it.
Okay. Moved and seconded to sell our excess. All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries.
And can I mention too that one time we talked about selling some of our excess land too, little bits and pieces of land that we had.
Yeah,
And
we're working
that
on.
kind of got dropped, so.
Well, I don't know if I gave you that. I gave that information. Bill has that, so Bill's been working on that.
Well, that's just one track though.
Yeah,
Is
that-
there more than one?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, there's several.
There's a bunch of it.
Iverson, Steve had it before you, and we gave him a packet of all the different properties we own. We own like a little triangle by the car wash and a little piece of property over by Sonic and things like that. You know, give it back to the people that have land or try to sell it. It's kind of like the area behind the dealership. You know, you're working on that, getting that guy the deed to that, so we can get that, because there's no need for the city to own that.
And he's fixed that up, looks really good back there.
Yeah, he's doing a really good
Yeah,
job.
we need to get rid of all that stuff. We don't need those pieces of property. We need to get them back on the tax roll.
Yeah, and that's like the old cement plant, Old Penny's Concrete. I have all the information about for selling that. I think we still should do that. Because I know the word before was the trail on the east side, but actually the city would still own that track on that east side because it's not part of.
Yeah, we would retain that, I think. then.
Yep, and I think what we wrote up for was in the sale of it that we would still have we would retain the rights to put a trail through there at some point. So.
I will tell you that Rotary was talking one day about trying to develop a camping area for people on the trail that coming into town. You know, like for tents, you know, rough camping, whatever. And I did mention that location.
Well, we have that park right there though too, Mark. The train park, Katy Depot Park, what's that?
Derlin?
Derlin's area to do that. You can do that in Derlin.
Yeah.
It's just right across the road.
It's too bad we gave up that little chunk across from the Saddle Rock that we had at one point years ago.
Yeah, I don't know about that one.
We closed that down. You remember that, Mayor?
Yeah, we vacated a part of a road or something,
Yeah.
I believe.
But anyway,
There, yeah.
sorry for getting off
Okay.
point
Well,
here.
that whole area there would be nice if it was developed since it's right
Yeah.
there on the trail. It is.
But there's a lot of people that come through are looking for a place to just set up a tent and sleep for the night. you
Well, yeah,
know.
especially if the state gets that money and finish that trail, you're gonna have a lot of people
Right.
trying to find places to stop and eat and camp and all that, so. All
Okay.
right, that's all I got.
Okay, well, speaking of that area, the home that burned, I'd just like to say I thought our fire department did a great job taking
Yep,
care of that.
yep. I went over there and they did do a great job. So-
Yeah, and then, but now, we need to notify the insurance company on that
So
they only have so
the-
many days to take care of it, or we go?
So we talked about that, James was over there, and me and James were talking to Mike,
Mhm.
see more about it, and he only had liability insurance on it, so that wouldn't pay for cleaning up. Mike's gonna have to pay to get it cleaned up. And what he talked about with us was giving Kenny 15 to 30 days to get anything out of the front yard and anything that he wanted, and then he would start the cleanup process. You know, so we're gonna give Mike the chance to do that without forcing him to do it. And then if it doesn't get going in the next 30 to 45 days, I think the rule is 45 days, isn't it, Larry? 45 days clean up.
Oh, I forgot whether it's 45 or 60.
I thought it was it's 45, I'm pretty sure. You have 45 days to start the process. So at the 45-day mark, if he hasn't started that, we may change the conversation.
I just knew after the Greensburg tornado, we passed that new
Yeah,
ordinance that if you had insurance, but if you didn't have,
yeah, he just had liability on it, which wouldn't cover the cleanup.
okay, we always would hold, a certain amount.
Yeah, it's like, I
But
think
that's
it's 5 or 10% of whatever,
Yeah.
until it's cleaned up, but that, we won't be able to do that
I think it was
with that.
15, it was quite a bit,
It was.
yeah, I thought so.
But-
Okay, that was one of my questions. Then also, the events committee for the city, where we're working with the chamber and everything, is doing a trolley lighted, well, we hope, there's some grants out getting monies to do this, a lighted trolley tour this year. And those will be like on the weekends where the trolley will go around to lighted homes, and there will be a fee to come and get on the trolley. A couple of them probably on a Friday night and a couple of them on a Saturday night for at least 2 weeks. And what we're hoping to do is kind of get into that market like Overland Park and Mission and, Shawnee Mission and those where, I mean, you have to get it, if you don't have your reservation right now, you can't get on those. They're so popular. And so we would like to do that. We're trying to work that. And one of the things that we talked about is that when people get on the trolley, we want to offer them hot chocolate and lap blankets to, as part of the deal. And I suggested and wanted to ask you all if the city would be willing to maybe spend some of our sales tax grant dollars and pay for that hot chocolate, and the lap blankets will be used over and over again. They'll be washed and used over and over again, but probably be $300 to $325 this year because of the lap blankets, but then it'll be a lot less. But saying this is, we're hosting, and this is courtesy of the city of Council Grove. So when people come from out of town, your hot chocolate courtesy of Council Grove and lap blankets.
Well, I don't think you have to use sales tax funds. I think you have to
Whatever we
take
do.
money out of general for that.
Just make sure that everybody would think that would be okay.
Yeah.
I don't see a problem with it.
And the whole thing of it is, the way we've got it set up, I think eventually that money, the monies that are collected from that will maybe help sustain the trolley. I think they probably will help sustain the trolley, because it's not gonna be, an inexpensive little deal. It's gonna be, people are gonna pay to get on it.
While you talking about Christmas lights, I saw where Custom Holiday Lights has started doing the install in Wamego for that same kind of lighting system that we've been talking about for our downtown.
I know there's some conversation going on, it's not any big thing, but as to whether we want the kind that, there are certain buildings that want just always white, always, and some that want the color changing, so that's kind of going on downtown, and each building is talking about doing their own right now, kind of, so that's where we're at down there.
Yeah.
And I might mention on this trolley tour too, there will be some nice prizes for people that are decorating their homes, and the people on the trolleys will get to vote for that, so. Anyway, does anybody have any kind of objection to that?
No, I don't think so.
It's a good idea.
I told them I'd ask, and
I got one more thing too.
I think that's all I have. Nick, you said you had something else?
Yeah, I also got hit up about our concession trailer that we don't use. Somebody was interested in possibly purchasing that. I think we kept it before because we didn't have a snack shack at the ball field over here at the baseball field. But it just sits behind the armory, and somebody has expressed interest in possibly purchasing it. That would probably be a deal that you would do a sealed bid on. So that way, if other people are interested, they have the opportunity to also.
Yeah, because I've had people ask about it too. So.
But it just sits back there. I mean, I think we
spent
had
a little money in it, having it wired.
Yep,
And that's
but
about all we've
I think
done.
since I've been here, Mark, we've used it once.
Yeah.
And that's been, that'll be,
I thought they had volunteered to straighten the wiring out, Mark, because the church wanted to use it.
Oh, maybe that is the
Remember
case,
Rick
Councilman.
Farr went through and.
Yeah, maybe
They
that
did all
is.
the
yeah, so,
electrical.
yeah, all the electrical wiring's been redone.
Yeah, Rick did that
Okay,
on the condition because they were gonna use it over at the Catholic church.
okay.
Yeah, so, but I had somebody express interest in it, but I explained to them I'd have to ask, and then if you guys are okay with it, it would have to go to a bid, and they're not guaranteed to get it.
We're not using it.
It's just another thing that's sitting that we don't use.
Yeah.
We kept it because we didn't have a snack shack for a couple of years over here after we tore down the one at Ben I. Smith.
I think you're right, open it up so everybody gets it.
Well, we have the right to refuse if some. We just,
Well, all of them are like, everything's sold as is, and we can refuse any bid.
If somebody
or
offers,
offer.
you know.
The only other option is we could rent it out, but then that just creates a lot of headaches.
Well, then you have liability and everything
Yeah,
else with it, and it's just
so-
not,
Yeah.
and I don't think you get enough use out of it to
Right.
justify the headache that it would cause, so,
There's some people that locally that could use it, I'm sure.
okay, well, put that on there as well.
Okay, and also, if any of you come up with some names that you think might be interested in taking that Sunflower Foundation class, be sure and get with Nick or I, because,
Or Jason.
anybody that's interested, or Jason, yeah, it's just just get with us and let us know, because the more people involved, I'm sure the better off it would be. Okay, anything else? Motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second. Been moved and seconded to adjourn, all in favor? 6-0, thank you.